Hello and welcome to this video where we're going to be exploring what it really takes to get into an Ivy League school when thousands are applying who are highly qualified. What is the difference between those who get in and those who don't? We'll be exploring the answer to that question in this video. All right, you're trying to get into an Ivy League school? Well, there's 5 things we're going to be talking about this video. Make sure you stay through all of them. But of course, one of them is going to be academics. It is Ivy League after all. The other thing, though, is this idea of well-roundedness. Is that really what they want? And next one is your importance of your story. We'll be talking about that. We want to be talking about mindset, making sure you show that you are the right fit for them. We'll talk about all those things in this video. According to Harvard University, over 90% of those students they admit are in the top 10% of their class. They score well on tests. They have those high GPAs. Academically, Harvard knows they're going to be able to handle the rigor of being a student at Harvard University. What Ivy League colleges do not want is to accept a student and have that student drop out. A dropout rate does not look good for that college, right? So they want to minimize that. Now, there's all kinds of reasons students drop out, and people drop out of Harvard and Yale and Princeton and all the other Ivy League schools, but they want to keep those numbers low. So academically speaking, because the Ivy League and they have high academic standards, they want to make sure as best they can that you're going to be ready academically speaking for those rigors. And the easiest way to do that is by looking at test scores and your GPA, your standing in the class, because that shows what you have done. It gives you a history there that, all right, this student has done well in academic settings, and we can see that. That's what they're looking for from the academic piece because, like I said, bottom line is they don't want you to get there and then fail out. Many students are taught that you want to be well-rounded, right? You want to get involved in everything. And the colleges love to see the well-rounded student. And this is true to a certain extent. They don't want, particularly Ivy League schools, to see mediocrity all the way around, right? So you need to excel, not just academically, in another area. You want to showcase that. Yes, be involved in other things, but you really want to make sure that there's one passion of yours that you showcase that passion. I don't care whether it's a sport, a specific sport, theater, music, the arts, community service, entrepreneurship, whatever it is that you can show sustained excellence. You've been involved in this for a long time and you do it well, and you've stood out in competitions, you've stood out like, Boy Scouts, you get Eagle Scout. That sort of kind of sustained excellence is something that they would much prefer to see than if you were just average in a whole bunch of things, right? So it's really important to keep that in mind, is to figure out what you're passionate about and enjoy and sustain that. Do that. Get into leadership roles of that. Look for other opportunities to do that. It doesn't mean you don't do other things, but you definitely want to kind of showcase that one area that you really are passionate about pursuing. There's a growing understanding and kind of even a movement where applicants for Ivy League schools and other colleges, but especially Ivy League schools, are understanding that, all right, I am going up against the best. Though it's not just going to be my grades, not just the fact that I'm involved in these things and I did really well in theater or really well on the baseball team or whatever it is. But you need to be selling yourself, right? Now, the selling can kind of have a negative connotation, But the idea here is you are telling your story. You want to show this school, whichever one it is you're applying to, why you are going to be a benefit for them in their community, why accepting you will make them better, right? You're helping them, you're serving them. And the way you show that and share that with them is through your story. So being able to tell your narrative, and we aren't talking about your biography. In other videos, I've talked about this in the past. It's not your autobiography that you're sharing. It's a unique story out of your life with a message, right? You've got to be clear on what that message is. And then you want to be clear on who the protagonist is in the story. You want to be clear on the antagonist. It doesn't have to be a person. It could be a thing, an object, a mindset. You want to make sure you get some dialogue going in that story. And then you want to wrap it up with like a hook that sells the story. That, when you package that together, whether it's in writing or even video, that's a powerful way to separate yourself from the pack. All right, now, underlying everything we've talked about so far is going to be your mindset, because your mindset is going to influence how you work academically. It's going to influence the curiosity you have about learning. It is what drives your love of learning. And that comes through in your academic performance, your test performance. It drives your ability to handle stress. And when you handle stress well, you perform well on, those big important tests and all of those sort of things that come through the academic piece. It's going to show through with your relationships. It shows through with that excelling in the area of your passion. It shows through when you show up in an interview and how you dress, how you walk into the room, how you carry yourself, how you look at the person in the eye and shake their hand, and all these subtle little things, the confidence that you carry with, your swag. That's all driven by your mindset and the beliefs you have, the self-image you have. And while there is a saying, fake it till you make it, and there is some real valid truth into that in training a mindset, but when it comes to the real deal, it's got to be natural, right? So that is why training your mindset so it becomes part of who you are is crucial for all this. It's what will really shine through in those interview situations and how you present your material and the authenticity of who you really are. Final piece to this is right fit. And it's not always easy to tell. So you want to go to an Ivy League school. Well, there's a number of them. So you'd want to make sure you choose the right one, because each one will be a little bit different. You've got ones that are in the city. You've got one like Dartmouth, which is rural. So, you want to weigh things like that out. You want to make sure that you are a fit for the school as well. And if you're sure you are, you need to present it, right? You need to show why you are the right fit for this school. But you do really want to do your due diligence of trying to figure out whether the school is the right fit for you, right? And we aren't talking just like the majors and the doors Ivy League will open, because they do. We talk about the culture and the environment that you're in, the other people who are going there. You can be rest assured that whatever Ivy League school you want to go to, as soon as they're there, they're going to be driven. All right. But there is different climates and culture that each one has. And you want to do your best to talk to other students who've been there or are there to try to feel. You want to get that visit in. You want to check out the campuses and get a feel for the campus. Having gone to many college campuses, I still remember going to one. We aren't even talking Ivy League here, but on paper, looking at the school, looking at everything, as I would go to that school, I'm like, man, this looks like a great program, and I might be able to do a sport there, and everything is checking the boxes. Then I got to the campus and like the whole feel for it. It was a more of an inner city school, and that's not me. That just wasn't. And knowing that on paper is one thing. You think it might be okay, but going there and feeling it, totally different. And I knew immediately that within 15 minutes of being on campus that this was not going to be a fit for me. So those are the sort of things you want to investigate. Well, that wraps up this video. And as always, I encourage you to subscribe to the channel, check out other videos. Another video you want to check out is how to get into a good college, not Ivy League. There'll be some similar principles, but you want to check that video out. And I encourage you to come back and watch another.